Hello, welcome to another Java tutorial. Today we are going to be going over strings and special characters. Now, before I start, there are a lot of things you can do with strings. I'm not going to go over all of them, just because there's a lot. But if you'd like to know all of them, you can search them up on Google. There's loads of pages that will teach you all this. But I'll just go through the main ones. So yeah, I guess we can just start off. So let's say we have a string. We have the string name, and we can equal this to Peter. Right, and now let's say we want to get the length of this. Like, what size is this for whatever reason? What we can do is we can print out name dot length. Now, see when I press dot, or when we do the full stop, you can see there's a lot of options here, and these are all the things you can do with strings. All of these. So if we type in length, you can see it narrows it down to length. And what does length do? It's in the name. It's going to get the length of the string. If we print this out, we get 5 because there's 5 letters in this string Peter. Okay, now let's see what else can we do. Let's say we do dot to. We can have a look. We can do to uppercase. Print this out. See, now everything is converted from P was uppercase and then these are lowercase. But because we've done uppercase, now everything is uppercase. We can change this to dot to lowercase. Now you will see that P will become a low P. We can also find something in here. So let's say we just have a greeting, and the greeting that we have is hello, how are you? Let's say this is our greeting, and we want to find a particular political character in the string greeting. So the way we'll do that is we will write the name, so greeting, and then in here we can do something like let's say index of and then character. So index of. Firstly, if we do 0, if you print this out, get -1. Makes no sense. So what we need to do, we need to change this to just a sum. So let's say we do H. Like this, you can see we get 6 because we are looking for this value here. Even though this is a H, this is a capital H, so we don't really care about that. So if we look, we can see H matches with this one, but then we get an output of 6. Now why do we get 6? It's because this one is 0, E is 1, that's 2, 3, O is 4. This space is 5, and now H is the 6th index of this string. So that's why we get 6. So the index of just finds a particular phrase or character in this string. We can also do something like, let's say we do R. We can put in a word in here, print this out, see we get 10th. And it will always get the very first character or index. So this is the 10th index. It will get A. So and then it'll output 10. So it will look for this word first. Once it finds the word, it will get the very first character of that word. Now, let's say we have just the name. We have the name, and let's say we for our first name, and we name this to I don't know, we'll do Peter again. I don't know why I like to name Peter. And then let's say we do string, and we do last name. We equal this to Johnson, Peter Johnson. I don't know. Now let's say I want to convert these or add these up basically. So there's 2 ways of doing this. So let's say I want the output to be something like, so we can do first name and we can plus last name. Now, when I do this, you'll see it will look a bit weird because, see, Peter Johnson, but there's no space. Because what we are doing here is we are adding the first name, which is Peter, to Johnson. Or we're adding Johnson to Peter. But as you can see, there's no space here. So there's two ways to fix this. So we can add a space. First one is we can add a space in here. So whenever Johnson joins up with Peter, it will start from here. Right? If we didn't have this here, like we did just now, the J will start here. But if you have a space, then the J will start at the end, which is here. So if you do a space here, from this now, you can see we have a space there. Or we could just do it here. So whenever Johnson joins up with Peter, it's also going to join in the space here. So it's going to have a space here. So if we run this, Peter Johnson. Other way that we can do it is, let's say I have another string. And we do full name. We equal this to the first name. And then we add the last name. This is the exact same thing as we did here. The exact same thing. Now, if we print out full name, you'll see it's the exact same. We get Peter Johnson with no space. So now we can add a space in here. And the way that we can do that is we can do plus. We'll add another string, and then we'll add the very last, the last name. And then if we do a space in here. For anyone that doesn't know what's happening here, we get our first name, which is Peter. We add it to a string, which is just a space. And then we add the last name to that. So it'll be Peter, space, last name, Johnson. We run this, see if we get Peter Johnson. So that's one way of doing it. There is another way of doing it, which we can do this thing called concat. So let's say we have the first name, for example. Yeah, first name, and then we do dot con. Oh, put that wrong. First name dot concat, and then we have last name. What this does basically, it just adds the first name to the last name. We print this out. You see, we get Peter Johnson. The only thing with this is we'll have to have a space in here or in the last name, in the first name or last name, to get Peter Johnson. So that's the way you basically add them. Now the thing is, let's say we have two numbers, but they're strings. X is equal to, let's say, 10. Then we have another one, which is y. It's equal to, it's equal to, let's say also do 10. Now, let's say I want to add these up. So we do x plus y. Alright, and then let's say we just output that. So, because these are strings, it's not actually going to add 10 plus 10. So it's not. So z is not going to be 20. The answer to this is going to be 10, 10. Because these are strings, it's going to get 10 as a word, and it's going to add 10 again. So it's going to have 10, which is here, and then we're going to plus 10, which is 10. Because these are words. If these were ints, right, then it will add 10 plus 10, and if this is an int, the output will be 20. But because we are using strings, it will not do that. And it's the same thing if we use like an int here, even. Now you can see we have a string x, which is 10, and an int y, which is 10. Even if we add them together, we'll get the same output, 10, 10. Because we are adding a string here, and then we are adding the number 10. So that's why they don't add them. Obviously, let's say if you have 10 and 10, firstly we'll get an error. Because we are trying to convert an int to a string. So that's not going to work. So that's the other thing about strings, adding them up. You can't really add numbers if they're a string, you know. So that's one. That's another one. Now let's say we have let's say we just have a string, and it's a, I don't know, we'll do phrase, and we'll equal the phrase to hello hello, my brother said I am great. Right. Let's say we have this. Right, just a basic phrase. Okay. But let's say I want to give quotes to this. Now we can't really give quotes. So for example, let's say if I want to do this, I want to have quotes in here. You can see we get an error. Just the way it works, because quotes are used to represent a string, so we can't just add in quotes in here. The way we'll need to add in quotes is we'll have to do a backslash and then a quote, and the exact same thing here. Backslash and a quote. So this is how you can add quotes into your string. And now you'll see if we print this out, you can see hello, my brother said, well, that's great. My brother said I'm great. There you go. Hello, my brother said I am great. I have quotes here. So that's why you add quotes, because these are used to represent string. They can't be used inside of the string unless we do a backslash. The exact same thing with single quote. Single quote as well. We'll have to see single quote. We'll also have to do the backslash. If you don't, then you'll see we will get an error. Or we actually don't. Okay, we actually don't. Oh, there you go. That's I just found that out, and it's the same thing with a backslash, I think. So if we do just one backslash, for example, see we get an error. But if we do want to have a backslash in our text, we'll have to do two of them. So boom, we'll do two of them, because here we are saying that the first one is we're telling it, okay, this next value is a special value, and then this is the actual text that we want to add. There are a couple of other ones that I'll quickly go through. So there's n. Whenever you do the backslash and n, if you print that out, basically it just moves it to a new line. As we can see, it just moves it to a new line. Now there is a space here, so we don't want that. Let's move that back one. Then see, there's no more space. This slash only recognizes just the next character. That's all that does. And you can see, even though we have backslash n in here, it's not in our text as well. There are other ones that we can do, so like or. So n is for a new line, or is just for a carriage return as well. It's whenever you press return on your keyboard. This is what that means. Then we have like tab as well. It will make a tab here. So basically, let's say you're typing out the sentence, hello, my brother said, and then you press tab on your keyboard. This is what it will do. There's also a backspace that we can do, so backslash b, which is actually giving an error. But then there's also there's the f, which is a form feed. So yeah, so there are a few that you'll have to look into yourself, but those are just the basic ones, basically. So that's basically most of the things you can do with strings, but that's not most of the things you can do with strings. That's just the basics. There is a lot more. I'm not going to go through all of them, because it'll be like a 1 hour video. But if you want to know more about strings, you can definitely look up online all about them.